the opposite of being noble. It's fraudulent.
It's disgusting. Michelle Obama goes to Princeton for free.
Yeah.
And has been in the ruling class her whole life.
Yeah.
And she's still lecturing you about how she's a victim of racism. Hillary Clinton, exact same thing. Goes to Wellesley, spends her entire life in the ruling class, and she's still whining about how she's discriminated against. Why are they doing that?
They'll have like pictures of side by side, but it'll be like pictures of like Jimmy Carter's house and Obama's house.
Exactly.
And it totally represents something about the like corroding of our soul. In that now,
in a white neighborhood, you should be required to live in the hood if you're Barack Obama. And
if you're using that card,
you use that card. The only reason you got elected was because of your race. You spent your entire 8 years inflaming race hate in our country, and then you go to Martha's Vineyard, the whitest zip code in the world? Not allowed.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to do that.
Well,
hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you love getting real news that the mainstream media won't talk about, make sure to subscribe right now. We bring you deep dives into the most important stories, so don't miss out. Awesome. Now, let's get into today's video. This story is going to blow your mind. Tucker Carlson had a guest on his show who completely tore apart the way the media has been portraying Barack Obama's legacy. From identity politics to massive financial gains, they covered it all. And let's just say, it wasn't a pretty picture. The things that were exposed left Tucker Carlson absolutely stunned. But should we really be surprised? At this point, the hypocrisy is just too big to ignore. How did Obama get so rich? Let's start with a number that might make your jaw drop. When Barack Obama first took office in 2008, his net worth was estimated at around $1.3 million. That's not much compared to other politicians. Fast forward to today, and he's reportedly worth over $70 million. How does that even happen? Are we really supposed to believe this massive fortune came just from book deals and speeches? Because let's be honest, there's a whole world of political influence, favors, and financial back channels operating behind the scenes. And it's not just Barack Obama. The guest on Tucker Carlson's show explained how identity politics has become one of the most profitable industries in modern history. And guess who's making the most money from it? The Obamas, the Clintons, and the Bidens. They have turned victimhood into a multi-million-dollar business. The hypocrisy of the political elite. Here's where things get really crazy. The same people who lecture Americans about privilege, oppression, and inequality are the ones buying massive mansions in places like Martha's Vineyard and Hawaii. Just think about that for a second. They tell us that the system is unfair and that they are fighting for the poor, but they live like kings and queens. In 2008, Barack Obama's campaign was one of the most impressive in history. Whether you supported him or not, you have to admit, it was brilliant. It was sold as a grassroots movement to bring Americans together. But the truth, it was about electing the first black president and using race as a tool for political power. But things really went off the rails during Obama's re-election campaign. That's when his team realized they had a problem. They couldn't run on their actual policies because they had continued and even expanded some of the worst policies from George W. Bush's presidency. So instead of focusing on real issues, they pivoted to culture wars. Michelle Obama's contradictions. One of the most shocking parts of the discussion was about Michelle Obama. She has publicly said that she lives in fear for her daughters in America. But here's the thing, she's spending millions of dollars on beachfront mansions. Are we supposed to believe she's struggling like the average American? Because last time I checked, most people who are truly oppressed don't live in $12 million estates on private islands. She even said, many of us still live in fear as we go to the grocery store, or worry about walking our dogs, or allowing our children to get a license. Really? Because the only fear the Obamas seem to have is whether their next mansion has enough beachfront property. Now, let's talk money. This is where things start to get really interesting. Barack Obama charges around $400,000 per speech. Michelle Obama, she can make up to $700,000 just for talking for an hour. And guess what? The Clintons have raked in over $230 million from post office speaking deals. And let's be honest, what exactly are they saying in these speeches that's worth that kind of money? The truth is they're not getting paid for their words. They're getting paid for their influence. It's a pay-to-play game, and regular Americans aren't invited. If you still think these speeches are about sharing ideas and inspiring people, think again. The real money is in book deals, media partnerships, and so-called charities that never actually solve any problems. Just look at the numbers. The Obamas signed a $65 million book deal right after leaving the White House. The Bidens made $16 million in just 2 years after stepping down. The Clintons turned their charity into a $230 million cash machine. Here's another crazy part. A lot of these rich and powerful people want you to believe they're victims. But why? Because playing the victim keeps the money flowing. Think about it. LeBron James lives in a $37 million mansion in Beverly Hills, but he constantly talks about how unfair life is. Meghan Markle was literally a princess, but she wants you to think she's oppressed because she lost some royal privileges. And of course, Barack and Michelle Obama are multimillionaires, yet they still push the narrative that America is somehow keeping them down. Why? Because it's all about keeping regular people distracted. They don't want us to focus on the real issues, things like government corruption, economic inequality, and the way they are benefiting from the very system they claim to fight against. And here's the real kicker. These same people who constantly talk about equity, justice, and fighting corporate greed are the ones benefiting the most from corrupt financial loopholes. They scream about corporate greed, but they are the corporations. They tell Americans to pay their fair share, but they move their money through tax havens and shady nonprofits. They warn about climate change, but they fly private jets to their multi-million-dollar estates. See the pattern yet? At the end of the day, this isn't about race, oppression, or fighting for the little guy. It's about money, power, and control. And Tucker Carlson's guest just laid it all out for the world to see. So now the real question is, are people finally starting to wake up? Or will the media keep covering for these elites while attacking anyone who dares to call out the truth? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Are these politicians really fighting for the people, or are they just using identity politics as a way to get richer? If you found this video eye-opening, make sure to smash that like button. It helps more people see this important information. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another deep dive into stories the media won't touch. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.